Now that you have all your notes for the courage paragraph, we're going to begin talking about writing your rough draft. So you should have notes written down and a quote to support each thing that you've thought of. So it shouldn't be too difficult to write. You're going to take what you already have on your notes and turn it into a paper, turn it into a paragraph. So remember, you were supposed to write down your thoughts on each of the events, not just the quote. You're supposed to have some couple of sentences of your thoughts about what's going on here and why this situation would require courage. Now you're just going to put them together into a paragraph. So let's look at the directions. You're going to write a rough draft of a paragraph of 12 to 15 sentences. Caitlin, you've not done this with us before. It literally means we're going to count the sentences, and so you need to not have any more than 15. And you can sometimes put two sentences together with an and or an although or something of the sort to make less sentences. So we're going to describe this, in this paragraph, we're going to describe in what ways Janie and her dad and mom showed courage in their lives as Mr. Larkin defines it. So you're going to describe what's going on in the situation and tell why it requires courage. That could be just one or two sentences. Use the author's words to support your point, the quotes you've written down to support your point. So if you were trying to say, this is not what happened, but if you were trying to say, Dad lost it and went running off into the sunset and was never seen again, you don't have a quote to support that because that's not what happened. How did they show courage? Okay, so be sure to include opening and closing sentences. I'm going to be very specific this time. Your opening sentence needs to introduce the topic of courage and include Mr. Larkin's definition of courage. You can quote him or you can just say what he said, kind of in your own words. Then talk about at least 3 instances of courage and make it one for Dad, one for Mom, one for Janie at least. And perhaps you should include just the overall idea of the migrant life. That would probably be the best one to start with, because that's what this whole book is about. This was written right after all this happened, right after the Dust Bowl, right after all of these people losing their jobs, losing their farms, losing their business, losing their home, and living in a car, traveling from place to place. This book was written right after that event, that decade, that 10 years. So that would be a good one to start with. Start with the idea of the migrant, the uncertain life of the migrant. Then give 3 examples, one for Janie, one for Dad, one for Mom at least. And then conclude with a final sentence that summarizes the main idea of your paragraph, which is something about courage. And courage isn't just being the knight in shining armor. And then give your paragraph the appropriate title as well. So I'm going to be making an appointment with each of you to have your parents bring you in on Thursday, preferably. We'll work it out for about an hour for each of you separately so we can look over your rough draft, make some corrections, get some new ideas, and move on to writing either a second rough draft or possibly a final draft. So we're going to be spending another couple of weeks on this. This week writing the rough. So you have, this is Monday, so you have today, Tuesday, Wednesday to write your rough draft. So you're going to have to spend a lot of time on this. Plan your time well, put aside your history till this afternoon and get this done. I know this is one of the hardest things we do, but remember what it feels like when it's done and how nice it is to read it, and it just is so wonderful. You guys are good writers and you can do it. Call me if you get stuck and we can talk. But I don't want any excuses of, well, I couldn't think of anything. You need to have a decent rough draft by Thursday morning so that we can look at it and I can give you some help in person, just like we would have done in class. All right, let's see some grown-up behavior, some responsibility, some diligence in each of you. I know you can do it. Talk to you later.